Coming up on American Medicine Today, a startling new documentary exposes the left's movement to dismantle conservatism and Christian values. Vincent Everett Ellison joins us to discuss the meaning behind his film, Will You Go to Hell for Me? Then, Monica experienced a car accident that left her in terrible pain. Knowing she couldn't afford to slow her active lifestyle, she found the Bonati Spine Institute and is now happily enjoying time with her family, pain-free. Finally, Dr. Bonati discusses how spine surgery is becoming one of the fastest-growing practices in medicine. But are doctors utilizing the best methods to treat the increased number of patients? Find out coming up on American Medicine Today.
Featuring cutting-edge science and medical innovation, touching personal stories of recovery from pain, along with political, social, and healthcare issues plaguing our nation. This is American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute and Alfred, Bonati, MD.
Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker. So a startling new documentary is taking the woke movement and cancel culture head on in an effort to restore the Christian values that this country was founded upon. Take a look.
The Democratic Party is the evilest organization in the history of the world. You're voting for a party that tells you they are going to abort children up to the 9th month, castrate little boys, and call them little girls, mutilate little girls and cut off their breasts and give them puberty blockers. Look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us.
Wow. Well, joining us to discuss is returning guest Vincent Everett Ellison, best-selling author and the man behind the new film, Will You Go to Hell for Me? Thank you for joining us yet again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This all started with comments made by a stranger at McDonald's. Is that right? And can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we were, Trump had just gotten elected, and my daughter and I was just traveling home for Thanksgiving. We stopped at McDonald's, and they were taking a caravan down to this march to try to get Trump out of the White House. I think it was this crazy woman's march. And they walked up to my daughter, mistakenly thinking she was a Democrat, and said, hey, why don't you come with us down to D.C.? We're feminists. We're pro-abortionists. We want to run Donald Trump out of the White House. And my daughter very, very respectfully looked at the lady and said, ma'am, I'm a Christian. I'm not a liberal. I voted for Trump. I vote my values. And I said to myself, wow, why can't more Christians just say that? You know, I was so pleased with her that she stood up for herself. And I understand that when the Democrats ask a Christian to vote for them, they are asking that Christian to go to hell for them because they're asking them to vote to kill children up to the 9th month. They're asking them to sexually groom children, castrate little boys and call them little girls, and to cut off the breasts of little girls and call them little boys, trap children in failing schools, and disarm people in war zones, and allow sex trafficking. And I wanted to write this documentary to let Christians understand the Democrat Party could not sustain itself without the Christian vote in this capacity. You voting for this party in this capacity is actually putting your soul in jeopardy. And according to our religion, to vote not only for murder, to put people in power, to kill people, and to maim people. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. But the people who say they're Christian, and 75% of white people say that they are, 85% of black Americans say that they are, I'm telling you that the Democratic Party has become such an evil institution that voting for it will send your soul to hell.
Where do you find the courage, I want to ask, especially as a black man in America who's also conservative and Christian? I'm sure you get a lot of backlash and flack for your stance, your unmovable stance, correct?
Oh, yes. Look, 365 times in the Bible, God commands that we fear not. One time for every day of the year. He commands that we fear not. He said, don't fear man. Man cannot harm you. And man cannot harm me. As a Christian, I cannot be a victim. I cannot be oppressed. This is why I have my problem with the civil rights movement. I have a problem with Martin Luther King Jr. that I talk a lot about inside the video. And that their movement has led us to be at the bottom of every socioeconomic statistic here in America. They destroyed the black family. They destroyed the black church. They've destroyed the black educational system, the black economy, and they're proud of it. They march and parade, and they celebrate what they've done to black America. This is a precursor. This is just rehearsal. This is what they're going to do to all of America. Why? An illegal alien can cross the Rio Grande today and make more money this year than a black man whose family's been here for 20 generations. Why? Because that's where the Democrat Party wants us, on their plantation, afraid, scared, illiterate, and poor, so they can get the vote every 2 years.
They use, abuse, and discard. They don't care. They create, the whole Black Lives Matters, but that falls by the wayside when you see the death and destruction that they do to black families. Mm-hmm. It's an outrageous lie.
They know exactly what they're doing. They win. They get 90% of the black vote. Mm-hmm. They have found a formula that gets them 90% of the black vote every 2 years. It is poverty, crime, drug abuse, fear. They've always used it. It's the plantation system in the 21st century. Yes. It's the same thing.
Modern slavery.
And they're going to spread it all over this nation.
How do they benefit from this idea of keeping the population subjugated? Obviously they're the ones in power, even though theoretically in our form of government, we vote them into that power, but they're so hell-bent on shoving their policies down our throat. It comes at the cost of pretty much everything, including, family, faith, all of that. So, what's the answer? What are we supposed to do to fight back against this evil and perverted party, as you accurately call them?
Well, we have to turn back to God. This is going to be a church movement, and it's going to be a spiritual movement. We're fighting against the devil itself, and that's the Democrat Party. We saw what they did to the South. It was 1% of the slave of the population owned slaves, and they decimated the whole South and kept it decimated for over 200 years. Why? Because you had that small group of people that kept power. They will burn America, and they will dance and call themselves King of the Ashes. We have to understand this. How do we defeat them? Like we've always defeated them, through faith in Jesus Christ. We have to go and talk to our brothers and sisters, tell them how they're being abused, tell them that they are not oppressed, tell them that if you believe in Jesus Christ, you are more than a conqueror. We need to tell them that the black preacher, the black politician, the black civil rights worker is their enemy. And they are only conduits between rich, white, evil liberals and the Democrat Party, and their job is to make sure they get the black vote. My documentary puts this in absolute, undeniable form. You need to see it. Will you go to helpme.com? It goes into Martin Luther King, things you've never known. Goes to about the Marxism. It goes into how they brought Marxism into the black church, and they commandeered the black church to take over the black community to have it vote for this atheist, devilish, satanic Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. And any Christian that is voting for this party right now is putting his soul in jeopardy. The Democratic Party is asking you to go to hell for them. Don't go with them. Don't go.
It's really something that should be shown in the school system. And speaking of the school system, you have the trans activism that's going on. Why do you think that it's infiltrating our educational system, and yet they're calling parents domestic terrorists for speaking out against it?
Well, George Orwell in 1984, his great book, said that there will come a time when the state will tell us that 2 + 2 = 5, and they'll force us to believe it. But it was inevitable because their ideology is so ironic that it will inevitably have to lead to that crazy conclusion. When you say that all thought is subjective and there's no objective thought, it leads into chaos and insanity. Look, we have a bottom. That's Jesus Christ. He tells us how to live our lives. He tells us how to treat one another, how to love one another. But the left has no bottom. They'll go until the whole thing explodes. We don't have to worry about anything, y'all. We're going to be fine. We know how to treat one another. We buy our homes. We have our property. We love our children. We have children and grandchildren. The left kills their children. They destroy their own property. They sexually groom their children and destroy their minds. They're high on dope, fighting, killing one another. It's a dystopia. All we got to do is step back and watch them burn themselves. But we are supposed to go and tell the ones that want to listen, there's refuge over here. If you want it, come get it. But I'm not going to chase you down. Jesus said, go to them. And if they reject you, shake the dust off your feet. We are not going to run these people down. You cannot help anyone that does not want to be helped. You cannot knowingly give somebody your permission and the power to commit murder and do not think you're not going to be held accountable.
Amen.
You will be held accountable.
Amen. I agree with you completely. Thank you so much for being on the program, Vincent Everett Ellison. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure you stay tuned. Coming up after the break, a story of recovery. Don't be screwed by lesser spine institutes who bait you with minimally invasive procedures. Then switch to screws, rods, disc replacements, and hardware. At Bonati, no metal hardware fusions are ever used. Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. Monica is a registered nurse, wife, and mother from Louisiana.
Well, I live in Alexandria, Louisiana. I have a husband and 4 children, 4 very active boys. I have 3 dogs outside, 1 inside. I have chickens, cats. It's a little small farm. It's a lot to keep up with the house and the property. We have 10 acres here. So it's constant mowing and bush hogging and weed eating.
Due to a serious car accident, Monica was left with neck pain, loss of mobility, and numbness in her fingers for over 20 years.
I had a car accident whenever I was 20 years old. Went through the windshield. It ended up that I had fractured my entire cervical vertebrae. It began as just neck pain. It started on the right side of my neck, went down into my right shoulder, down my right arm, and all the way into the first 3 fingers on my right hand. I was told in the emergency room at the time of the car accident that I would have pain. So I really didn't think a lot of it, and I was trying to deal with it because I was supposed to have pain.
The pain eventually worsened to the point it affected her ability to work, sleep, and enjoy time with her family.
I'm a nurse, a registered nurse, and I was having to give a lot of IV push medications. And of course, your primary tools for that are these first 3 fingers, which I couldn't feel. They were numb and they would tingle a lot. And then, of course, I had pain in my neck and my shoulder. You would think at night laying down that the pain would ease, but it actually was worse lying down. I wasn't sleeping well. Pain keeps your body at a heightened level, so you feel tired all the time. When you're tired, you're easily frustrated, you're grouchy, and having 4 kids, they're always needing something from you. So I guess I was very short with them, angry a lot. Not the most pleasant mother I could have been. I didn't want to sit down and visit with my children because I was constantly having to put heat and massage therapy and everything on my neck. My husband had bought me the little massaging neck pillow with the heat in it. So when I would get in from work, I would sit on the couch and do that and try to meditate and zone out. I just wanted to be by myself because I was in such pain. And of course, like I said, when I would lay down at night, the pain would be worse actually. So I didn't want to love on my husband. I was getting to where I was clumsy. I was dropping things. Like I said, I couldn't feel those first 3 fingers at all. I took a lot of Motrin. I couldn't take narcotics being a nurse and trying to go to work. I did do some physical therapy, and of course the therapist was able to show me some exercises to do at home that would ease the pain. Went to my regular primary physician, and of course he started over with x-rays and everything, and talked to him about injections, which I didn't feel comfortable with, so I chose not to do that. So he recommended that I see a surgeon for a neck fusion surgery.
Not wanting to undergo traditional open back surgery, she started asking around about alternative procedures. That's when a friend recommended the Bonati Spine Institute.
Some friends of ours had had surgery there and was a success. So we decided to Google it, and right away there was a questionnaire. We filled it out. The process on the website was very simple. Being able to mail in the MRI results was awesome because we didn't have to travel twice to go see the doctor and do a consultation and then plan surgery and come back. We sent everything in ahead of time, so it was planned when we went to do surgery, and we were prepared to stay and do what we needed to do. Of course, the pain on the way there was miserable. I couldn't turn my head at all to the right without pain. The left was limited because of the muscle spasms in the right side of my neck.
Upon arriving at the Bonati Spine Institute, Monica received a physical exam, updated MRIs at the on-campus imaging center, and met with Dr. Bonati to discuss her customized surgical plan.
When we went to the Bonati for our initial examination, we had brought our MRIs over there already. They repeated them there and had everything set up for Dr. Bonati when he came in to look at them. And he introduced himself. And he said, "Don't tell me anything about your pain. Let me just examine the scans first." And after he looked at the scans for just a few minutes, he was able to tell me exactly where my pain was, that it started in my neck, went down my shoulder, and affected my first 3 fingers, either on the right or the left side. And I said, "Correct, it was the right side. Yes, sir, that's exactly how it was." It was amazing. It was very comforting that he knew exactly where my problems were without me having to tell him. Immediately, he was concerned about me and my pain and what I needed. It wasn't about his scheduling for the surgery. It was about what was best for us. He was truly compassionate, and he was like a godsend to us.
The exclusive Bonati spine procedures are performed incrementally using conscious IV sedation, where the patient remains awake and communicating with their surgeon to ensure the source of their pain is eliminated before they leave the operating table.
I was at Bonati for around a week. I did 3 different procedures. From the beginning, arriving at the Bonati Institute for the day of surgery, it was very comfortable. And then when they took me into the actual surgery suite, I was awake for the procedure. He would ask me questions as he was doing the surgery. Could I feel this? Could I feel that? And he told me ahead of time that he would have me awake because I would need to answer those questions that would help him during the surgery. And he told me that when he got the bone area shaved down enough that it relieved the pressure on the spinal cord, it would be instant. And I needed to tell him when that occurred. And it was instant. It was like a light switch. I spent years in pain and didn't know that I could be without pain. So it was incredible when it was gone. I could also feel my fingers. Of course, that took, it was better and better as time went by. I guess because the nerve had been, compressed for a while. It needed to regenerate a little bit. So immediately I was able to do what I wanted to do and the pain was gone. Oh, the ride home was smooth. Oh, it made my job much easier because I could feel the syringes again whenever I was pushing the medicine. I didn't have to constantly look at it and worry if I was pushing too fast or too slow. So my job was much easier with the return of the feeling in my fingers.
Monica highly recommends the Bonati Spine Institute to anyone suffering with neck or back pain.
For the person having surgery that might be considering the Bonati Institute, I would tell them that they're very informative, they're very professional, and they make you feel comfortable. And it's worth it for you and for your comfort level and to get rid of the pain that you're living with, to at least go for a consultation. It's been 1.5 years since my surgery, and of course now I feel like a 20-year-old again. I'm able to do anything that I want. I have no pain, I have no loss of motion, I have full range of motion in my neck, my arm, I'm able to feel my fingers again.
Now pain-free, Monica is enjoying work again and spending time with her family.
My small son does football, and it's pretty much 6 days a week. We practice, and then there's games on Saturday, and it's several hours at a time that we're sitting on the bleachers. And of course, if anybody's ever been to a football game, the bleachers are not the most comfortable thing, but I have no problem with any of that now. They have their mom back too. Like my husband said, he has his wife back, and I certainly feel better, so I'm able to do more and enjoy them more.
I think everybody was shocked, like, really, you had surgery today? I had a drain tube. I was at my desk doing payroll for 200 employees, worked till night, got up, went to bed.
Actually, the recovery was great. I mean, I really immediately felt the difference. I was able to go back to work within a couple of days.
The progress after each procedure was amazingly good. The recovery all told has been phenomenal.
We went to the Bonati Institute, and that was the turning point in my life. This type of surgery is so much more advanced, and the recovery time is so much less that it's just a no-brainer. If you've got pain, go to Bonati.
This is the honest to God truth. And was recovering, I didn't feel anything. The pain that I was suffering is gone. I can go back to work in like 3 days.
The surgeries that I had, actually, I recovered very easily from, I would say. I actually went to work the following afternoon.
That afternoon, when it was done, I actually felt so much better already.
6 days after surgery, I was back in the gym, slowly but surely working my way back to fighting, back to basically 100% of fighting, you know? So 6 days, and everybody was in awe, like, didn't you just get out of surgery? I'm like, yeah, I feel great. And like, okay, let's see how you do. And I was rolling with everybody, and I'm in the advanced class.
First time I came in here was Monday, and today is Thursday. I've had 2 surgeries and am doing fantastic. I'm still in shock that I can walk. That's all within 4 days.
Bonati succeeds where others fail. Welcome back to American Medicine Today. So, Doc, why is it that spine surgery is one of the fastest growing industries in healthcare?
That is well said. Is really one of the fastest surgical procedures or necessity for surgery in the country. That has 2 elements that they create this situation. One is we have a really growing population. That is going to intensify the amount of damage that happens on the spine. In the old population, usually spinal stenosis is a big problem.
Correct.
And is not being addressed properly. We start to see results that they improve the conditions of this population. Then we have another population that is a young population that is affected by just demand for the motion of the spine in certain type of jobs that these people apply, like construction, things like that.
Okay, or waiters and waitresses.
Yes, yeah. Waiters and waitresses. The other situations in the younger people usually is associated with accidents.
Okay.
So this necessity, together with the growth in population in the country, is affecting the necessity for more knowledge on spine. Just in my own lifespan, when I graduated, nobody wants to be operated on the spine.
Correct.
The results for a long, long time were very, very bad. The situation did not improve with technology. Treatments, instead to be less aggressive, they become really more and more aggressive.
Are you talking about spinal fusions
Yes,
and instrumentation?
Exactly. What really happens is they start to develop techniques with the wrong type of a biomechanical behavior. The spine needs to move. And if the spine is not moving, then what happens is you do have a situation that creates an overload in vertebrae above the area that is not moving on the areas that below the areas where also the motion is restricted.
Yes.
That creates more problems associated with this type of surgeries. We at the Bonati Institute developed techniques and developed types of treatments that they respond with a tremendous amount of success. And that success is based practically in very small changes that they need to be done to the spine. And the results are immediate results with immediate accomplishment of removal of pain. That is what brings the patient to the medical practice. So allowed us to start to look very much internally And because we are using a type of an instrument that is an arthroscope, and the arthroscope will increase the imaging of that area several times. The size of your hair is going to look like the size of a rope.
Oh, it's beautiful. When you see the type of equipment that you use, you're not looking through a little magnifying glass and then down at the patient. You're looking at a massive screen. So one strand of hair looks humongous. And then you look back at you performing the procedure and you're doing minimal movement with the instrumentation that you developed.
The observation that you have in that area is better and better.
Correct.
And recently, the industry is coming with ideas like magnify the areas using cameras and lens and allow the surgeon to look better.
Right.
And the problem that I see with the industry is the industry doesn't know where they are going. So they continue creating instrumentation that is worthless, expensive, useless, and at the same time dangerous.
Right.
If you look at the magazines in advances that they are being reported by universities or by private practices, they talk a lot about, on those journals, how good the screw that they just developed works.
Right, but they never talk about what that really turns into as far as satisfaction for the patient.
Well, they are not interested on that.
Correct.
They're interested on how long that screw is going to last on the bone, or how much the motion that is going to happen there will create a loose screw in certain amount of time.
Right.
Well, that is the direction that they go. So we went in a different direction. We want to be sure that the patient doesn't have pain.
Correct.
I don't care what we need to do, but we need to do something that this patient has no pain.
Yes.
So when we know the direction that we need to go, then we start to create instruments that they allowed us to get there. And that is what happened at the Institute. We developed instrumentation, and we had results that they are not in comparison to the results in the market. Our results are amazing for any type of a spine. Imagine how amazing it is for spine surgery.
And with 98.75% patient-reported satisfaction, that's why it's so important to know about the Bonati spine procedures when there's so many individuals in the marketplace looking for the correct type of spinal surgery. That's all the time we have. We'll see you next week. If you have any comments or questions, contact us at the numbers below. Or you can tweet at Dr. Bonati using the hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. We would like to hear from you.